Here we are then, this is part 2 of head removal from the BMW R1100GS. Part 1 was basically the reason why we're taking the head off and actually removing the head, looking at what we found, inspecting everything. Part 2, this is how to rebuild it and hopefully at the end getting it running. Cracking. Come along for the ride. Have a laugh. Stem. Right, here we are looking at valve stem oil seal removal and replacement on the BMW. Now, you remove a valve. As you can see, I've taken the valve out of there. Now, when you remove the seal, you're not going to want it again. So what you can do, this is a bit archaic, but squeeze it. Pull it off. It destroys the seal, obviously. The seal is now destroyed, but you're not going to use that seal again anyway. Now when you get a new seal in your kit, you just push the new seal over the extension on the valve guide, and there is a little shoulder there which retains the seal, and then you pass the new valve through it. That's it, really. So you don't have to use the mold grips like I did. I mean, that is a little bit animalistic, but it's an effective way of removing them, because all you want is a nice clean valve guide, so you can then slip the new one over it. So here you are then. I've bought a replacement camshaft. I bought a replacement rocker assembly. The whole thing includes a camshaft, which, as you can see, is in really nice condition. I've checked the condition of the followers, the push rods, etc., and they're all in good condition. So what I'm going to do, I'm now going to fit that to the head. So essentially, when rebuilding this, the camshaft here, that cutout has to be facing up on the left hand side. If you're doing the right hand side, that has to face down, because that has to match the pip that's in the back of the sprocket. As you can probably see here, there's the pip at the back of the sprocket. That has to fit into that cutout. So we assemble the camshaft carrier to the head. Then we fit those two bolts, and that bolt. They hold the carrier to the head. So you only tighten these three up because these two here retain the rocker shafts. So we'll now fit the push rods into these two gaps here, install the rocker shafts, adjust it all up, bolt this top plate on, bolt it all up, make sure it's all free and moving exactly how it should be. Fit the push rods and then get the rocker shafts, and using this cutout here, make sure that cutout aligns with the bolt, and then the bolt actually then holds it in position. So you have to feed this in so that it lines up with the push rod as well. Once that's all gone in, tighten these two up. Now you'll notice that the valve clearances will be totally different, because obviously this is a different set of rockers on a different carrier, different valves, so you'll have to release all of these now so that you've got 3 valve clearances, so you don't want to be holding any valves off when we put the head on. And then we'll do a valve clearance check once the head's in position. So now I've fitted this back on, going to tighten these up, reduce the open those up so that there's plenty of movement, so that we can safely adjust the cam or bolt the cam back onto the sprocket without it opening the valve. So yeah, so we're nearly ready now to refit to the engine. I've decided I'm going to do the valve clearances actually whilst the head's on the bench. Should be a lot easier actually than faffing when it's back in the on the bike. The valve clearances are 6 thou and 12 thou. So 6 thou for the inlet, 12 thou for the exhaust. In millimetres, that's 0.152 mils for the inlet and 0.30 mil for the exhaust. Now the way I do it, quite controversial, because I know loads of people have got loads of opinions about valve clearances, but I've been doing valve clearances for 50 years, so this isn't something I'm worried about. Right, you put that, the feeler, in between the rocker and the valve. Then you do it up until the feeler is solid. You can't pull the feeler. Then you reverse that off until you can just pull the feeler. So at that point there, you leave the feeler in position, then you tighten the nut up whilst holding the adjuster. You make sure the adjuster doesn't move, and you do the lock nut up. At that point, you should still be able to remove the feeler. It shouldn't be tight, shouldn't be locked. You should be able to remove it. That's it. And then the next one, you do exactly the same thing with the next one. There's no point in my mind to have 2 at the same time. I can't see the reason why anybody would think that is highly necessary. Some people do, and if you want to do it, then yeah, it's great, but I don't think it's necessary, so I'm not going to do it. So you just so it's just moving, and then lock the lock nut, and then that's your clearance. See, that's clearance there. Put that back in there, and you've still got the clearance there. That's how you do it. Valve clearance is dead easy. You don't need special tools, you don't need special instructions, you don't need special skills. You just need to have the ability to work out when it's just sliding. One at a time, that'll be more than sufficient. Now do the exhaust, and then the head's ready for installation. So now we're ready. Make sure that this is as clean as you can get it. Make sure the dowels are in position, especially if you're fitting, like me, a different head, because there might be different dowels. Completely clean it. Do exactly the same on the head itself. Make sure it's immaculately clean. Everything's ready to go. Brand new gasket. Correct size, because there's different type of gaskets depending on which engine. There's only a few gaskets, but make sure you get the right one. Feed it through. Feed your cam chain through the section. Hook the gasket over the dowels, and make sure, just ensure that everything is lined up as it should be, which it is here. Now, the moment of truth, where we feed the head into position. Put your cable tie through there, align the cable tie jumps out, That's it. Feed the head through, pull in the cam chain up, making sure that it sits fully flush onto the gasket. Refit the washers. Now we're not going to torque anything up, we're just going to do them up so that the head is in position. Now make sure the tapered piece faces into the head. Just do these up so that they're finger tight, as it were. Finger tight, it just means that the head's not going to move around. The head is in position. Now we need to align the cam chain with the cam shaft, fit the cam chain bolt, and very carefully adjust the bolt up until the pip and the cutout in the cam chain align and then fully go in. And as it's going in, you need to cut the cable tie off to segregate the sprocket and the chain, and then basically that will be back in position. And when it's back in position, you're then ready to put the other bolts in, the large one there and the 3 smaller ones, and then we're ready to torque the head down. So refit the cam chain, slide in the bucket, or the cam chain tension should I say, slide in the bucket, slide in the spring into the bucket, and then finally the cap. Make sure it all aligns correctly. Bolt it up. Now adjust, or tighten should I say, all the head bolts as per the spec. Make sure you do it gently. On this engine, there's loads of different torque settings. I've just taken it from the workshop manual. It's 20 Newton meters, and then it's 90 degrees. So you turn it 90 degrees, all of them, and then you turn them again 90 degrees, and that should be the correct position. I don't normally give out talks because there's so many different ones, and there's so many different people have different ideas what should be and shouldn't be done. So I always say, look in the workshop manual, torque the head correctly. The way I do it is 20 Newton meters, 90, but that's just the way I do it. Might not be the way that your book says, but that's what my book says. So that's the next thing. Then tighten up the other bolts. The cam bolt needs tightening up on the cam chain. Tighten that up, make sure that's done up, and then basically recheck the valve clearances, and then we're nearly ready to start to reassembling. In the top cover for reinstallation. The most important thing is this rubber here. This is the rubber that just simply fits over there, goes down in between the head and causes a seal. Now the thing is, this quite often, this quite often causes grief. What happens is, here's one that somebody is, look, it gets cut, and because it gets cut, it leaks. So one of the things I do normally, I use a little bit of instant gasket around there, just to seal that into position, so that that actually goes on there and stays there. When you put it in position, keep it dead straight as it's going on, otherwise it can sometimes come off and then it gets caught like that, then it leaks. Be quiet. So now we're going to fit this, and the most important thing is as this goes into that hole, keep it dead straight so that it doesn't push the rubber off.
I'm going to give you a cuddle.
Quite often that comes off and then it leaks. So it is one of those things, so once you start getting it running, check to make sure it's not leaking, because it is an absolute bloody nightmare. Lift it up nice and gently so that it pulls it down nice and square.
Hi Dad, you can see myself. Is it nearly done?
So there you go. That's now.
Hey, watch it close.
That's now in position, and you have to make sure when the engine runs that no oil leaks from that central seal. Here's a nightmare. Fit the HT lead, and then we're ready to fit the exhaust. So after bolting the exhaust and all the other bits and pieces on, which took another half an hour, suddenly pulled it outside and look what happened.